Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Steve Brock. I lead the AI marketing team here at Avaya. We're thrilled to welcome you to today's session, the AI Orchestrated Contact Center. And we're joined today by two fantastic speakers. First, Tony Lama, our Senior Vice President and General Manager of Product here at Avaya, who's helping shape the future of customer experience innovation. Welcome, Tony.
Hi, Steve. Great to be here. Thank you for the time.
And also with us is Vasuprada Srinivavasan, a principal analyst with Forrester Consulting, who will walk us through the findings of a compelling new study on AI and customer experience. Welcome, Vasu.
Steve, hey Tony, and hey everyone that's tuned in today. Fantastic to be talking to you all today.
A few months back, Avaya partnered with Forrester to dive deep into how enterprises are leveraging AI in their contact centers. What's driving success, where the challenges lie, and how leaders are thinking about what's next. The message is clear. AI is no longer a future vision, it's a current imperative. It's already transforming how organizations engage with their customers. But as adoption accelerates, so does the need for flexibility, orchestration, and the right ecosystem of support. In today's webinar, Tony will share Avaya's unique perspective on how we're helping our customers rapidly embrace AI in a secure, scalable, and effective way. And then Vasu will provide us with an in-depth look at the research findings. And a few logistical notes. During the webinar, please be sure to add your questions into the chat, and we will address those at the end of the presentation. Also, please be sure to check out the information available in the resources section. Thank you again for joining us today. With that, let's get started. I will now hand it off to you, Tony.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate the intro. And by the way, the data that Vasu is going to be sharing with you all is incredibly exciting. I can't wait for her to share the details with you all. But before we dive into the research, I want to set the stage with what we're seeing in the broader AI markets because it's moving incredibly fast, and you all know that as well. Today, there are over 70,000 AI companies worldwide, and that number only continues to grow. From generative AI startups to verticalized enterprise platforms, the innovation is really, truly staggering. And I'm sure Basu will agree with that. But what does that tell us all? It tells us a few things. Like Steve just said, this isn't a hype cycle. This is a full-blown AI ecosystem explosion, and customer experience is right at the center of it all. One area in particular that we're watching here at Avaya is vertical AI. Markets like healthcare and finance and retail, these organizations, these verticals and these companies, they're demanding models that are trained on domain-specific data. That market alone, as we've seen it, and Vasu could probably share the data as well, is expected to grow anywhere from $10 billion today to $70 billion by 2034. And here's why that matters. Customers no longer want just generic experiences. I know as a consumer, there's nothing I hate more than a generic experience. I want to be known. I want to be understood. I want the experiences to be personalized. They want context-aware, industry-specific conversations in these verticals, and that requires that AI truly understand their world. We're also seeing a kind of a sharp increase in efficiency-focused AI models, those that offer higher performance with lower compute. And why? Why do we believe that's happening? Well, because as AI workloads are projected to grow 35% per year through 2027, efficiency becomes not just a benefit, it really becomes a business imperative and a necessity. So we have a fast-growing AI startup ecosystem, a booming vertical AI market, and rapid advances in model efficiency, all signaling one thing. And this is what really gets me excited, that the future of customer experience is intelligent, it's specialized, and it's adaptive. So here at Avaya, we've been listening closely to what our customers need to make AI real for them and sustainable. And one message comes through very, very loud and clear as we've talked to our customers, that there's no one-size-fits-all model. The Forrester study that you're gonna hear a lot about today highlights that companies want to adopt AI on their own terms. choosing the models that work for them, integrating them seamlessly with existing systems, and doing so without feeling locked in. That is incredibly important, especially for us that we deal mostly with the enterprise. That's exactly what we've designed with the Avaya Infinity platform. It's a truly AI agnostic architecture. So whether you're running AI on-prem, in the cloud, or somewhere in between, the Avaya Infinity platform is really designed to meet you where you are on that journey. And it brings a series of capabilities and tools like a low code no code tool and a multi-model orchestration engine that really allows businesses to get the power that they need to adapt, pivot, and evolve without completely upending their business. So with that, Vasu, I want to get into the data. The floor is yours. Take us through the detailed findings that you and Forrester also, I'm sure, find very, very exciting on your end.
Thank you, Tony. And I couldn't agree with you more. We've been talking to customers of ours and what's happening in the contact center space and the impact that AI has had on all of those businesses. And like you said, the need for working with AI, doing more with AI is today's imperative for a lot of those businesses. And you're right again when you say it's something that they want to be able to do at their pace and not really feel the pressure of doing large scale experimentation or adoption with AI that goes completely uncontrolled and disrupts their ecosystem. And that was actually one of the reasons that we even started this collaborative project with Avaya. We wanted to go to the market, talk to practitioners in this space, contact center and CX leaders and decision makers that have the mandate to work with AI within their ecosystems to get an understanding of what's even happening there. What is the lay of the land? What does the current landscape look like in terms of AI adoption? Are there challenges that are part of the ecosystem? How are we solving for those? Have we got great solutions in this space? And then ultimately, what does it take for someone to really get to that space of controlled but impactful execution of AI within the customer service ecosystem and the contact center ecosystem? So that's the study that Tony and Steve both spoke about, and that's the study that I'm bringing to you today. Just in terms of context of who we spoke to, these are CX decision makers, particularly leaders within the contact center space that have a mandate to work with AI within their businesses. And these are global businesses, largely big contact centers that are experimenting with AI across the globe. So this is multiple regions at play. This is mostly either decision makers themselves or influencers of key decisions within the contact center space that participated in this survey. So I am super happy to bring to you results from this study and some very, very hard-hitting data on what's happening with this space. Starting with, what is that landscape even looking like? What does the existing organizational appetite for AI look like, particularly when it comes to CX? And that appetite is definitely on the rise, right? We're hearing more and more from the survey respondents that they want to be able to do more with AI, and they've already kind of set things in motion. And this is not just about chatbots, right? Of course, chatbots are the winning use case for AI within any business, and there is a lot of experimentation that's happening with self-service automation in terms of chatbots, in terms of virtual assistants, sometimes voice bots, both for customer-facing use cases, but also for agent-facing use cases to provide real-time assistance to agents, to provide recommendations, to provide predictive suggestions, automated summaries, that kind of thing. But then beyond chatbots, there is a lot of focus on leveraging AI within the business also to do more and better with data and customer journeys, with finding ways to orchestrate customer journeys and customer interactions in a more predictive and in a hand-holding sort of way, rather than making it the customer's choice to figure out what's the best way to connect with the business. And finally, to bring a lot of predictability and proactiveness into the overall business with analytics and data-driven decision making. So from the bird's eye view on what's happening with AI within the CX ops space, there is a lot of enterprise affinity and there is a lot of vision to do more in this space in the next 3 to 5 years, right? So beyond conversational AI, decision makers, CX decision makers, are telling us that they're very, very invested in doing more with AI in the next 3 to 5 years. Some of these, again, are things that we are seeing big, large enterprises make very, very ambitious and aggressive investments into. For example, improving the effectiveness of AI-supported service technicians, whether these are, customer-facing in branch and point of sale kind of locations, whether it's the contact center or even field support for that matter, to be able to equip and empower all of these service technicians with AI-enabled suggestions, recommendations. There's a lot of investment that's going in that space. Similarly, with AR and VR powered interfaces, to be able to provide troubleshooting assistance, to improve experiences within manufacturing, for example, for predictive maintenance. There is also a really big play in verticals like utilities, where this is becoming very handy to handle complications of things like smart meters. Virtual agents, computer vision, again, sounds very next gen when it comes to AI, but then it is not that next gen anymore, right? These are becoming reality for a lot of businesses very, very quickly, because today we have not just the capability from a technology perspective, but also from an organizational appetite to want to do more with AI within the business, and not necessarily just to manage costs. That's definitely a key outcome for anything that's AI powered, but there is a lot of momentum to deliver overall improved experiences for our customers, for the customer service frontline, whether it is branch-based or whether it is in the contact center. And organizations are really pivoting to AI to make all of this happen for their businesses, right? And very, very unsurprisingly, the top use case for wanting to experiment with AI has been customer support, right? It's not that customer support is the only area that is seeing investments or interest. There are other drivers of wanting to work and do more with AI in the next 12 to 24 months. Of course, the very fact that AI itself is being so accessible to businesses these days, that we have more access and more controlled access to this technology, that there is big opportunities in terms of improving customer experience, managing operational costs, and doing better with customer data overall within the business. But then, why is customer support at the top of the list, right? Well, I mean, why are we not even surprised? We're not surprised because this is something that we've been saying for the longest of times at Forrester, right? Our research has always indicated that customer service has been a very important lever and probably the biggest impact driver for overall organizational customer experience. And very unsurprisingly then, contact centers are the absolute key driver within the customer service ecosystem to create that kind of dramatic impact. So because of this, what we did within this study itself was bring focus to what happens, particularly within the contact center space, and what AI is doing to that space, and how do we, kind of break the scale barrier within the contact center space for doing more and really getting to experiment and deploy and implement AI in a very scalable fashion. Starting with understanding what is the contact center perspective on working with AI, right? Where are they? Are they playing catch up? Are they very ambitious? And the data is telling us that they are super, super ambitious, right? Almost more than 50% of the decision makers that participated in the survey are telling us that they already have implemented AI initiatives within the contact center space. Some of them have planned expansions, upgrades, and more experimentation planned. Some that are just trying to kind of scale what they've done for their business. But then the overarching message definitely seems to be that everybody's got their hand in the AI cookie jar. And everybody's throwing out aces from that, right? So everybody's got big plans of what they want to be able to do with AI.
Vasu, can I
Now,
ask a quick
there's,
question
of course,
on that previous slide? So this very much jives and aligns with, I think, what we're hearing from our customers, particularly in the enterprise space, where many of them, if not almost every customer that I talk to, has some initiative that's already been ongoing, and not something like they just recently started. They've been already thinking about this for some time. They're preparing the data, thinking through their data silos. And when we get engaged, in most cases, they're saying, "We've got our own LLMs. We've got all of this data. Now, what we want to do is use your tools to be able to deliver more of these personalized experiences, deliver more of these hyper efficient experiences for both our agents and our customers." I know for the most part, we're talking about the enterprise. Does this kind of align with what you're saying here as well, Vasu?
absolutely, yeah. And I guess the only thing that I want to add to what you said, Tony, is that yes, this is the enterprise mindset of wanting to do more with AI. But then I do also want to call out the fact that this is not just the big, large, 5,000 plus contact centers that are in this space. This is also the small and midterm contact centers. This is also capability centers that they've built for customers that are very focused on delivering a very improved level of a service experience for their customers. So yeah, absolute enterprise mindset to be wanting to just scale all the POCs and pilots and break that POC pilot inertia and move into the scaled implementation and deployment space. So yes, we are absolutely hearing from enterprises that they've done their POCs, they've met their initial success criteria. The AI buzz has kind of normaled itself out. But at the same time, they've realized immense potential exists when things are done right. So enterprises are willing to be disrupted with AI right now.
One last question, sorry, and I know this we may be off
Of
script
course,
here,
no
but I'm
worries.
just curious: are you seeing a more rapid adoption at the enterprise level or more in the SMB? Because one would say SMB is not as encumbered by a large number of data silos. They're quicker, they're more able to, they're agile, right? They're in many cases they're thinking about how to compete in a very competitive world, so they can pivot a lot faster. Are you seeing enterprises slightly slower than the SMB space, or are you seeing them moving just as quickly?
I think the momentum in terms of experimenting with AI is very similar, whether we're talking about enterprises or mid market. But I think what's different is their approach to adopting AI, because enterprises have additional complexities that need to be solved for, unlike the mid market teams. To your point about them being a lot more agile. Also, because they have reduced dependencies on things like legacy tech. The enterprise contact center ecosystem, like we all know it, is it's a very eclectic mix of legacy tech and emerging tech and homegrown solutions. So it is a slightly more complex landscape to navigate to get to a place of efficient experimentation and productivity with AI. But then from a mindset perspective, I think both enterprises as well as the small medium businesses have an equally similar appetite to want to do more with AI. Awesome. And that kind of takes us to what they want to do in terms of AI use cases as well, right? So again, you will see this come back over and over again. It is going to be chatbots at the top of the list because obviously it's an easy, simple, and a very mature solution stack that's available to the business. But then it's not just, like I said, it's not just about chatbots that have generative AI or learning capabilities. It's also use cases around improving agent productivity, right? The ability to give them predictive suggestions, next best actions, the ability to cut down effort from what used to be very traditionally agent heavy manual processes like note taking or call dispositions or interaction notes or better summarization techniques to deliver knowledge in a more nimble and a consumable format for agents that are having conversations with customers. It is use cases. There are massive use cases around automatic quality management. The ability to, for example, I think the one thing that we've all realized as contact center businesses is that we don't have to work off of sample data anymore when it comes to quality management. We now have the ability to harness AI to look at the entire quantum of data, and we're talking about omni-channel data, to arrive at customer insights, to build a certain amount of proactiveness and predictability into improving customers' experiences. We have the opportunity to look at historical feedback, do more, analyze that feedback, and provide real-time insights to the customer service frontline for them to have more empowered conversations with customers. And these are all use cases that CX decision makers across the globe are saying that they've actively explored for AI implications within the business. But does that mean that it's all just a walk in the park? Does it mean that we've gotten to a place of where AI is just super friendly for us to use? And this is what I was talking to Tony about earlier on. No, we still have and are dealing with a significant amount of challenges, right? So when we went back and asked decision makers on what are the top challenges for them, or what are the hurdles that they face when they want to do more with AI within their businesses, what becomes an obstacle when they want to scale from pilots and POCs and go to the place of large-scale, impactful deployments of AI within the contact center ecosystem. No surprises, the cost of experimentation and implementation with AI is definitely top of the list. It's top of mind for most AI decision makers when it comes to working with AI. But then beyond that, there are complexities for us to work well with AI that need resolving before we get to a space of large-scale experimentation and deployment of AI, right? The ability, for example, to navigate complex technology ecosystems, integrating with back-end systems that tend to be very fragmented and in some cases have massive overlaps. The unavailability of trained AI skills within their businesses to handle something like this all by themselves, right? Tony spoke about the lack of the data silos and existing issues with even getting access to clean, usable data so we can get to a space of getting meaningful insights. All of these are problems that CX decision makers have reported as the key hurdles for scaling their AI programs within their business. And the biggest one, I think, is the data silos, right? A majority of the decision makers that we spoke to agree that data silos are posing major or significant barriers to their AI efforts, right? And this is something that we hear over and over again. Again, it's not a big dramatic impact, whether this is a big, large enterprise or if it is a very new age digital first kind of business. Data silos are definitely impacting large scale deployment of AI, and it's definitely hurting the effectiveness of AI initiatives within the business. I probably just want to pick Tony's brain a little bit here, right? Because this is survey data and this is what we're hearing from the market, but then you kind of have ringside seats with customers of yours that are on these journeys. How big of a problem are data silos for your customers, Tony?
It's probably the one thing that we hear the most about, especially in the enterprise. And many of them, surprisingly, are have been already thinking through this, even prior to talking to us. So they
Right.
acknowledged early on that they needed to come up with some data consolidation, data lake initiative, CDP, be that one of the major CDP players, or thinking through how they're going to solve this. But they understand that they've got multiple lines of business, data about a single consumer that may be sitting across the enterprise, sitting in various different platforms, in various shapes and forms, and that they need to somehow pull all of that together if what they truly desire is an end-to-end view of the customer then a platform like Avaya Infinity can then harness and leverage to do some of the magic that we can do. So like it really kind of becomes step one, right? Is thinking through the data that they're going to surface to us, what nuggets we need as part of the experience design conversation, and then where we're going to go get it. Like so spot on. This very much aligns with what we're hearing from our enterprise customers.
Brilliant. And I want to highlight something that Tony said. He spoke about wanting or being able to create that one view of the customer. And I want everyone to kind of just, I want to just park that little phrase with you for right now, because we are going to bring that up again a little down the line, because that is something that I'm personally very passionate about. And I know that we haven't, as an industry, solved really well for. But it's also something that we're talking to customers about. So let's just put a little pin on the one view of the customer, and we'll get back to that. But then so part of the survey was also then thinking about the solutions for the space, right? What is the art of possible with AI in the contact center? Is this all fluff, or is there, very real, tangible potential of what the contact center business will do with AI, the impact that AI will have on the contact center? Now, at Forrester, our view has always been that AI powered utilities for any business, particularly the customer service and contact center business, is what makes you future fit. So we have a lot of faith in AI being that really, truly transformative, disruptive solution stack that will change how contact centers operate in the future. But then what we wanted to do is go back and ask practitioners in the space if that vision is aligned, if they believe in the similar potential of AI. And they absolutely do, right? And the impact of contact center AI, or what AI does within the customer service ecosystem, that's not lost on anyone, right? So when we went back and asked CX decision makers, what, according to them, in terms of AI in the CX ops space, will have the most amount of impact in the next in the coming years, they have very solid answers on what they think will be truly disruptive, starting with the ability to have real-time interaction analytics on customer service data, on contact center data, the ability to build more AI-driven self-serve solutions, not just for the customer, but also for the larger contact center ecosystem, on how to orchestrate better self-serve journeys for customers across the entire ecosystem. The ability to leverage predictive analytics to finally go to a place of where we are able to engage more with intent, to anticipate customer issues, and to respond more proactively and triage issues before they happen. To leverage AI to manage overall agent experience as well, right? To cut down effort from manual tasks, to improve agent accuracy, to deliver information that is relevant to them in runtime, right? With the overall idea of improving customer journeys rather than just individual siloed touch points for customer experience. So the impact of AI within CX decision makers and CX leaders is definitely something that they all agree and are very, very bullish about. And particularly in the AI-driven self-service solutions, right? Because again, the minute we say AI-driven self-service, I think the one thing that it creates a recall for is definitely chatbots. But then we also are not just talking about chatbots anymore, right? Like Tony said earlier on, businesses have started to experiment with their own LLMs, with their own AI-driven utilities for, journey management, for channel management, and things like that. So I just want to, maybe have Tony jump in for a little bit and understand what that conversation sounds like for you, Tony. What are customers talking to you, or what are you talking to your customers about when it comes to AI-driven self-service beyond just chatbots?
Yeah, Vasu, great question. Contact centers, and even today, I mean, just to be honest, right? Like they're relatively unintelligent and not very dynamic. And in many cases, you have contact center operators, and then you have IT organizations or the folks in the back room that are making changes to the self-service applications. In many cases, the business gets frustrated because they want to move quickly, and they're dependent on some in the back room engineer who's making changes to many of these applications. One topic that has really gotten a lot of interest as I'm talking to customers is this concept of kind of self-healing self-service applications that are much more proactive, that are much more intelligent, that can like automatically prompt a manager or leader in the contact center and say, hey, there seems to be an outage. There's an influx of inbound calls that are coming in from XYZ zip code, where recommendation is to adjust the prompts to say this. And then just
Right.
giving a manager the opportunity to say yes, fine tuning the message, or it's automatically just happening on its own, right? So, as when you tell that to someone who's been managing and operating a contact center, they're like, you mean I don't have to do this all the time? I don't have to be reacting. I don't have to be hair on fire. Uh, the contact center operators and business leaders love this vision of a kind of self-healing, aware, data-driven, real-time contact center operation models because it'll allow them to really start to focus on the things that matter, which is driving a much more hyper-personalized experience at the agent when calls finally get to the agent, and allows them to really just automatically do things that it's really about not deflecting, but really it's about how do I make the customer feel valued, like that I know them, that I
Yeah.
understand why they're calling. A lot of times, like when I call in because I'm having an outage, right? It's I, I am the first one to hang up if someone tells me I realize that you have an outage or I realize you have a service disruption, and oh, by the way, Tony, it's going to take us this amount of time. We're going to reach out back to you proactively to let you know if
Yeah.
anything changes. That's all I want as a consumer, to be known, to be understood, and to be engaged over the channels of my choice. So we're hearing more and more of that, and there's certainly a lot of excitement as I talk to them about what we can do with Avaya Infinity orchestration and starting. I tell people, think beyond the box, outside the box, because there's a lot that we can do. And when we talk about this topic, it gets people very excited.
I think that's fantastic, right? Because even for me as a customer, just the comfort that I get from understanding that the business knows that I am experiencing a service issue or a service disruption without me having to report it. I think just from a customer experience perspective, that's a really big win, right? And that's what we're talking about when we talk about contact centers getting really and truly disrupted with AI. Much like how the channels that we have traditionally used to engage with customers on as well, right? Now, we've all had this digital narrative sword hanging over our head for, I think, a good part of the last decade. We've been pushing this digital first narrative. And to be very honest, I think we've made some fair strides in having found really sound and robust mechanisms to interact with customers on digital channels, right? But the one thing that's changed overall from a customer perception of channels perspective, and with what AI can do in that space, is our perception of what voice supported customer support or customer servicing looks like. Now, the holy grail objective of the digital narrative was that we do more digital and then we cut down on phone-based support or voice-based support. Now, I want to make the distinction between phone-based support and voice-based support. Sure, phone-based support is probably seeing a reduction in terms of dependency as the primary channel of support. But with AI coming in, we are looking at a massive disruption on how these traditional channels will continue to be leveraged. Voice-based support ecosystems and speech-based support ecosystems are poised to be disrupted, are poised to gain dominance in the AI-empowered contact center, and that is because the voice AI solution stack, AI-powered voice ecosystem is an absolute upward trend for a lot of businesses now. So when we go back and ask contact center decision makers on what are some of the use cases that they are seeing for voice AI within their ecosystem, it is again a mix of something that is very simple, like being able to provide multilingual support or real-time transcription or real-time translation kind of support. But then it is also the ability to, for example, invest on real-time sentiment analysis to understand how the customer sentiment is changing while you're having a customer conversation, to leverage that data to provide proactive service suggestions for customer service agents on how they can improve the in-call experience for customers. The ability for example, on mapping agent requirements based on their performance on a set of interactions to build a very customized and hyper-personalized training or coaching plan, leveraging insights from interaction analysis or looking at the data. And then there are some very advanced use cases on behavioral and emotion-based routing, leveraging voice biometrics for our customer authentication kind of use cases. And then really looking at very, very advanced use cases on voice manipulation and negotiation. But even if we leave those out, the opportunity to just work with voice AI is just immense for the business. And much like everything else, channels are looking at large scale disruption. Particularly the voice AI ecosystem is going to change for a lot of businesses. And the other thing that's going to change a lot is what we do with the customer service and contact center data to improve customer experience. I think we all spoke about data silos. The contact center ecosystem is actually a very rich data ecosystem, right? It's flush with customer insights. It is flush with real-time insights and sentiments that can be gleaned from customer interactions. The problem, though, is the fact that this ecosystem is extremely fragmented, that it is all completely siloed, that it does not exist in a format that is easy to get information or insights from today. So with AI coming in, CX leaders are definitely hoping that there is a very great impact on harnessing contact center and customer service data, on harnessing omni-channel interaction data, on harnessing back-end contact center data to improve customer experience, particularly for enterprises that are moving to a space of being very, very customer obsessed, to drive that hyper-personalization, to drive that very contextual engagement, no matter which channel the customer chooses to engage with you on. Now, to execute on this AI potential is something that's very different from having a vision for the AI, right? Nobody is lacking in the AI vision when we have conversations with customers. But executing on this requires a very strong technology partnership, right? One that understands channel complexities, one that understands that AI it really needs to be multifaceted, that it needs to be modular, that it needs to power intelligence, right? That it needs to operate across multiple levels within the contact center ecosystem. But at the same time, it needs to give enterprises maximum flexibility, whether I am on-prem today or whether I am in the process of adopting cloud or migrating to cloud, whether I'm completely on the cloud. And I think the biggest concern of all is the ability to do all of this in a completely secure environment. Because while the contact center data is really rich, we all understand that this is data that tends to be that needs to be protected. This is customer data. This is in a lot of cases personally identifiable information. So there is a need for us to be very responsible and very ethical about how we deploy AI within the business. So this technology that becomes the linchpin to succeed with AI, to really scale and implement AI, needs to have a few competencies that are that kind of bring all of this together. The ability, for example, to work with AI and agents, right? That entire pitch of AI replacing agents or causing job losses. I think we've kind of moved past that, and we understand now that AI is an enabler, right? While it's changing job roles and job descriptions, we are constantly exploring AI as an always-on assistant for the customer service frontline to be able to deliver very, very personalized experiences, but then allow enterprises the flexibility, the incrementality, and the modularity to be as phased about this as they want to, but at the same time, have AI as an invisible orchestration layer across the entire platform. And then do this entire thing with low code, no code is the official statement. But then what we're really talking about is the ability to give enterprises the the functionality and the features to be able to consume AI in a very functional manner without them having to invest or making massive investments in acquiring expensive AI skills within their businesses. And these are just some use cases of what the art of the possible looks like when you have that end-to-end platform that is able to deliver all of these components in the low code, no code workflow automation space. And particularly in the flexibility and modularity space. Again, I want to pick Tony's brain here because you're also having customer conversations. How important is it for customers today to have that flexibility? Is, for example, having AI administered on on-prem applications, is that still a big challenge? Is that still a big need? And how do we build for that kind of flexibility?
Yeah, I mean, what we're hearing from our customers is that they're looking for deployment agnostic vendors and partners. And there's no one, like, our customers are fairly diverse at Avaya. You have those that are, I mean, data security and sovereignty is incredibly important, but some are in highly regulated industries. Some maybe interact and engage with governments where data security is very, very important. So for us, as we're thinking about Avaya Infinity and what we're bringing to market, we while there's been, and by the way, there's a ton, we fully appreciate the value of cloud. We also understand that customers are on, every enterprise is on its own journey to some end state or desired end state. And what we want to be is we want to be the platform that allows them to unlock all of this goodness, harnessing AI, and be really like agnostic about the large language models, be agnostic about the deployment models, really truly be the platform, right? So, and the message is resonating very, very well as I'm talking to enterprise CIOs and CTOs. Most vendors in our space come in with a fairly strong point of view about how you, Mr. and Mrs. Enterprise, should be transforming your business. And ours is a much more open saying, where do you want to be? What are your objectives? What are your data sovereignty positions? Let's partner to get you to that end state. And it doesn't matter to us how you do it. We're just kind of unlocking this goodness without forcing customers down a single path. So this kind of openness as a vendor really allows us to become more than a vendor, but a true partner in thinking about, in terms of the adoption of AI, how do they do it, at what pace they do it, and really allowing us to really build strong relationships with our customers. And I do want to make one quick point that you made earlier around AI and agents not really going away. There's some data, and I don't have it right here offhand to share, but there's some data that Patrick Dennis, our CEO, has shared with others, with some of our customers, that shows that The number of job openings for contact center agents, despite the fact that AI has slowly been getting adopted, of course, we're nowhere near peak adoption, but the number of job openings really hasn't changed year over
Yeah,
year. So despite all this innovation and all this goodness, right? Like there is a role for the agent, and I think more and more companies are realizing that this is not an or, but it's an and, right? How do I
yeah.
augment my agent to create a different experience for my customers?
Yeah, yeah. I think we see it all the time at Forrester when we do other surveys as well. That AI and agents are not really in the mutually exclusive space, that it's more symbiotic than we originally imagined AI and human relationships to be. So very,
Uh,
very happy that we're hearing similar things. So so Tony and I could talk about this all day long, but I want to round this up today for you with, again, another nugget from the survey, which is in direct alignment to everything that Tony and I spoke about right now, right? So we did go back and say, when it comes to technology partnerships, what is it that you look for in technology partnerships that allow you to scale seamlessly with AI? And you can see that some of the things on here are exactly the things that Tony spoke about. The technology ability of a technology partner to provide an open AI architecture, the ability for them to scale deployment on demand, irrespective of what their existing ecosystem could be, to deliver more secure data to multiple platforms. And then something that Tony spoke about earlier on, industry specific and domain specific expertise and track record, the ability for to borrow Tony's words, to be a partner that brings best practices, that brings tactical advice and best practices to a service ecosystem that is, gleaned up from the overall domain or industry specific deployments that they might have had. So there is absolute alignment within what CX leaders are looking for from technology partnerships as well. So at Forrester, every year we do something that we call a budget planning guide, and we do this for different roles within a business, including customer experience. So what I want to leave everyone with today is a summary of what we recommended for CX leaders based off of data that we have at Forrester on what for you to be a future fit CX organization, for you to really make your CX ops resilient for all the AI driven challenges that are coming through and changes that are coming through. What is our recommendation? So I have three recommendations and three areas that we believe will see maximum or should see maximum exploration and experimentation with. So starting with recommendations, we are definitely saying increase spending overall in CX-led initiatives, but then allocate a significant part of those of that budget or of that spending to technology that powers CX initiatives and less in people. We want to direct and focus technology investments on being able to build a very functional 360-degree view of the customer. Remember that little pin that we put on the one view of the customer earlier on? This is what I was talking about. So the most critical technology enablement that you want to really unleash the AI potential is to leverage AI to build a very functional, role-defined 360-degree view of the customer that will give you the most dramatic customer experience improvement. And finally, leverage tech and service partnerships, both for customer insights and experience delivery. Something that we have learned is many organizations kind of hit roadblocks on scaling with AI because they've realized that the talent to work with AI is expensive, is not easily available, and it's not something that they can really sustainably invest in within their business if they are thinking about end-to-end customer experience transformation. So leveraging partnerships to bring in that momentum to support the enterprise vision for CX transformation with AI is probably the most winning bet to really scale AI. And then finally, to explore three very targeted areas to direct your AI experimentation energies with. The first one is driver analysis. I think we have enough data that's coming through to us that tells us that leveraging customer service and customer interaction data gives the business the ability to engage with intent and to engage contextually all the time. So look at what's driving volumes to the business, analyze the call driver, understand customer interactions, to get to a space of being truly predictive in customer experience management. And then leverage AI for all the summarization and productivity enhancement utilities that you can build in the contact center environment. Now, on the face of it, these AI utilities tend to look very incremental and very small. But then anyone that's been in the contact center environment understands, for example, the value of automating post-call notes with AI and the impact that it directly has on a metric like average handle time. We know that after call work contributes to a significant amount of average handle time and creates challenges in metrics like occupancy and utilization. Leveraging AI gives you a very dramatic impact in managing some of those. And finally, journeys, right? Target and plan and improve journeys and not specific touch points, right? Whether you're looking at orchestrating technology or AI, it needs to happen across a customer journey and not for a specific touch point, not for you to improve the contact center experience or just to look at the customer service experience, which itself is a little outside the contact center. We spoke largely about the contact center today because that is still, a very valid and a very large part of the customer service ecosystem, but that's not just the customer service ecosystem. And I see Tony's nodding because I know he agrees, and we've spoken about it, offline as well. So I want to pass this off to Tony as well because I know he's very passionate about customer journeys.
Yeah, I definitely spend a lot of time talking to customers about this because, and I'm often, I often say to our customers, and they nod, of course, because they agree that customer care doesn't begin and end in a contact center, right? And our position is that as we're talking about Avaya Infinity, we're really talking about the experiences end to end because you have field service engineers, you have back office employees, you have in contact center people, you have in store employees sometimes. How do you build that end to end experience where the customer is known and it feels known regardless of the channel or engagement modality, right? So
Right.
we're building a platform that's designed to unlock that. We start in the contact center, but there's so much more in the area of there's so much more in terms of opportunity to really think beyond the bounds of contact center. And it's a message that's really resonating with many of our enterprise customers to have one partner, one platform that really cohesively starts to pull all of these engagements together. So thank you so much,
Great.
Vasu. What really stood out, and I really appreciate your time, Vasu. This is great data. What really stood out for me in the Forrester report was how closely the top business priorities really align with Avaya Infinity's core capabilities. Companies want to break down data silos, and Infinity really allows customers to unify CX, CRM, ERP, and more, of course, to create that kind of 360 view of the customer, which, as we've heard here, is kind of the panacea, right? Understanding who the customer is and having that full end-to-end view. They want to scale AI at their own pace, and Infinity offers that kind of modular approach with AI tools that grow with you. We're hearing that they want personalization, orchestration, and trust, and that's where our AI-driven workflows, intelligent routing, and security-first design really comes in. So whether you're just starting on your AI journey or scaling an enterprise-wide strategy, Avaya Infinity is built to support our customers on this evolution and doing that without disruption, without completely upending the business. We're really excited about what the opportunity is and the potential that exists for our customers to really harness technology in very different ways to deliver much different experience to their end customers and employees. At this point, thank you again, Vasu, but I'm going to hand it back to Steve so we can dive right into our Q&A session.